Hi there, good afternoon and welcome to our discussion of this rather tricky area called decision making of XAT 2024. So we took you through loads and loads of decision making sessions, if you remember, right? And all of them prepared you for the D-Day hopefully. And here is a discussion of the actual questions. So XAT was one of those exams that I did sit for this year. I did attempt all the decision making questions. Did I get all of those right? Not really. I got 4 of them wrong as well. But I will keep referring to whatever I jotted down in the examination hall while solving the questions. Okay, so here is my scratch pad that I used to write down different things about different questions there. So I'd keep referring to that. Along with it, I'd also be looking at or glancing at the response sheet for my particular set. So there are going to be these tiny interruptions where I adjust for where I open the relevant set in my response sheet so that I can look at whatever I wrote there in the margin. In case you happen to have any specific issue or concern any of these sets, please make sure that you do drop it in the chat box down below. Hi Manjusha, how are you doing? So let's go ahead and get cracking with a discussion of XAT 24 decision making section. Here is the first set that we plan to look at. So this first set talks about Mr. Singh living in a housing society, employed 2 domestic helps. Once Sharda fell ill, took leave for 3 days. When she returned, she learned that the gold ring was stolen, so she was given the additional responsibilities and Vimla was fired. Sharda accepted the offer, and look at this part, as her previous 2 jobs were lost due to frequent health related absences. She was struggling to make ends meet. This offer would go a long way to help her. And then the ring was found. So from there on, let's dive into our first question. So Sharda was contemplating whether she should inform Vimla that she found Mr. Singh's ring. Like, ideally, you should. But then this question is slightly different. It is, in that sense, asking you to do something that you may not directly think of, and that is what can dissuade her from doing it. So, telling her about it is the right thing to do, but now what can dissuade Sharda from doing it? So let us check. A, if Sharda gets terminated, if there is that risk. So you notice in every situation we generally have some objective or some objectives to meet. So in this case, one of those objectives is doing right by Vimla, right? Telling her no, so that she no longer is under that suspicion of being a thief. And then at the same time, the second constraint is that you would want to retain your job. So if you look at A, you're doing right by Vimla, but you'll not be able to retain your job. B, had Vimla done her job properly, she would have found the ring and avoided this incident. So in this case, you're not exactly doing right by Vimla. And then C, Vimla already knows she has not stolen anything, so telling her will not give her any new information. Oh, but then she's still an accused. So this does not help you in any which way. No, you're not doing right by Vimla as well. D is irrelevant for this particular piece, and E in fact should not dissuade, it should persuade you to do it, because now it is your job to return that favor. So the choice was fundamentally between A and B, and it is here that this part comes into picture. She is struggling to make ends meet. So at the end of the day, remember that Maslow's law of hierarchy, that you need to take care of your well-being, your physical well-being first. So it is here that A becomes more dominant. Had that not been the case, had that not been mentioned, we should have opted for B as our answer, and that is why our answer to question number 1 should be A. Question number 2. So she got 3 more houses, but Vimla was unfortunately dismissed. You want to help Vimla. These are the possible actions. So there are some possible actions. Which one of these will best help Vimla? So what do we want? Vimla has lost 2 more houses. We want to ensure that Vimla does not lose any more house, work from any more house, and that Vimla, if possible, gets those 2 houses back. Okay, so why did those other 2 houses fire Vimla? Because they thought that she's a thief. If you go and tell it to those that she's not a thief, your job is done. And that is why the right answer would be E. In case you want me to dive deeper, dig deeper to any of these other options, make sure that you do. Pop into the chat box and let me know. And then the last question. So the domestic helps want to ensure that they would not get targeted every time if something goes missing. So the key thing is, which of the following policy options will best minimize the chances of employers suspecting their domestic workers of theft? So nothing like hard evidence. If the domestic workers are tested every day, searched every day when leaving the society, and they emerge clean, then obviously you have a piece of evidence telling you that, hey, there is nothing, that they did not steal anything. So this is going to be the best policy option, and therefore the answer should be, these are the answers in the official key, and I think they are very reasonable. The first one could have been tricky, A and B, it could have gone either way, but when it comes to second and third, I'd say that they are all right. They're basically fine. With that, let's move over to our next set. Okay. So you've already hopefully gone through the set. So the first question, Shalini's comments deeply hurt Nalini. Which of the following reasons, if true, will best dissuade Nalini from declining the bonus? So why is she thinking of it? Because she was hurt by what Shalini said. Which one of these can reduce that hurt? A. So if she is known for making insensitive comments, then you know that it is not, that the fault does not rest with you, the fault rests with, with the Shalini, and therefore you should be good to go. All right. So A. Then the next one, Nalini noticed a change in how her teammates behaved with her. So they were avoiding informal interactions with her. As she had to rely on the support of her teammates, what could Nalini best do to normalize her relationship with them? So the very first thing that you do in these situations is go out and talk. Ask them. And it's only when the asking does not work that you may look at some of those other things. So the first course of action should be E. In fact, this is something that is taught at XLRI as well, that the very first course of action in all these situations is you talk it out. Talk and then see. Baat karne se hi baat banti hai. So you actually go ahead and start. Vishal says, why didn't BYJU'S do the analysis before the response sheet? Vishal, we did go through an analysis before the response sheet as well. We have conducted some videos. Unfortunately for VANLR, I was not available and therefore I could not do it sooner. I had not been keeping well, and that made it difficult for me to take it. So that was the reason for VANLR. And for decision making, I think we consciously, I think even after the exam, you notice we very clearly and categorically stated that we feel that a particular answer choice is right, but then the key comes out and we realize that it is not the right answer. So things can be a little subjective. We wanted to avoid that bit of subjectivity. And as I said, I got 4 of these questions wrong. So had I taken you through this analysis sooner, before the response sheets were out, how would that have helped you? Tell me. So you're basically saying, what is the use now? I'm saying, what is the use of all of these sessions once the exam is over? Will that change your result? But there is one distinct use that does exist today. What if there is a question where we do not agree with the official answer key? We get to raise that objection today, reason it out with the authorities and get that answer changed. Now, fortunately, in decision making, I don't think we need to go in for that, because I practically agree with all the answers that they have shared here, barring this one question where I feel things could have gone either way. On the other hand, when it comes to VA and LR, there are a couple of questions where I would actually want to reach out to the XAT guys and tell them that, hey, I think the answer that you've shared is wrong. So if you're saying we will try to justify the answers, look at some of the previous sessions where we discussed previous year papers. When we do not agree with the official answer key, we very categorically tell everybody that, see, we don't agree with it, and we also write to the body that conducts the exams. In fact, the same thing is done even after the CAT. In that window when you can raise objections, we raise objections. So I don't know what triggered you to attack us in this particular manner, and what makes you think that we justify it when the evidence very clearly tells us that we don't. So anyhow, in the VALR session, which I am taking on Sunday, you would see that we do disagree and we do not justify those answers. So let's move over to our next question. So Nalini was chosen to spearhead it. Difficult client. Shalini has experience of working with them, but Shalini says that, hey, I work only if I am the team lead. So best course of action for Nalini regarding the inclusion of Shalini. I think the best course of action is B. Why would you let go of your position and make her the boss? You just tell her that this is going to be best for both of us. And it's only if it is win-win that we can look at it. Girish, you are the second individual who has said this to me. This is actually weird, because in my response sheet, whichever options that I marked were also given as the answers that I marked. Okay, at least, and in my case, I jotted down all the answers that I marked, so I could actually verify those as well. But if more people say this is definitely a serious concern, and you should nonetheless reach out to the XAT body and tell them that you think there is a discrepancy. Hopefully that will help. Then the next set. Raman was working as a project manager, grew really well, was impressed, planned to get into a B school, etc., and got an offer 3 months to join the business school, and then the story starts. 1 month's notice. They were planning a new project that requires at least 6 months to complete. So the question is, which of the following will best assist Raman in accepting the role? So he knows that he is not going to be there to see the project through to its end. So which of the following can help him still take it? So what is the objective? Now the objective of Raman would be to continue to work for those 3 months. At the same time, the other objective is to ensure that the project does not suffer. If you are picking it up, you would ideally not like to leave it in between. So when it comes to D, you notice D tells you that even if Raman were to leave, the project will not suffer, or project is not likely to suffer, and therefore D was the best answer choice. As I said, we can of course look at any of these other answer choices that you picked up and discuss it threadbare if required. So Sonali, once again, to capture it, you are saying that the answer that you marked, so for example, let us say that for question number 7 you marked C. and the actual answer, the official answer is D. But in your response sheet, it shows that you did not mark C, you marked something else. Is that what is happening, right? Is that what's happening? X, we definitely are. Wherever we are always with you. Wherever we feel that the testing body has made a mistake, or they are doing something which can be termed unfair, we definitely with you. And that is why I'm just collecting the data. So if we see people it has happened with, we would definitely reach out to them. At the same time, I think it is equally important that you also reach out to them. We will, you too should. Okay, so Sonali, do confirm it. Do drop me a line after the class and then we can discuss it. We can take it up there. Okay, then Raman resigned. Suraj was shocked. Raman rocked. Suraj shocked. He felt betrayed and basically the relationship ended at a bad note. But then summer internship placements were approaching. He requires verification. So what do? Now typically for verification you reach your reporting head. But here, because that relationship ended on a sour note, what is the best course forward? Contact the HR to facilitate the verification. There you go. You don't even need to do it yourself, and thus C should be your answer. Then the next one, he went beyond his call of duty. So how do you get documentation for those additional responsibilities? Now B is a rather strong way of doing it. In D, some of us may have considered D, but then D is appeal to emotion when that is not even required. They need not necessarily be verified by Suraj. As long as they are verified, as long as they are backed up, I think you should be fine. So therefore, B works. Besides, it also gives you the certainty of getting those with the least amount of emotional discomfort. Here is the next set. Kasta. Prabhu. Reasonable rates. Not just affordability, but his reputation for these was unmatched. Safety, trustworthiness. Okay, so moreover, even for their personal cars, they would turn to Prabhu for help. And then COVID happened, financial strain followed. So he sought to offset his losses by raising the fare, but there is stiff competition. So let's see. So decided to increase the taxi fare for all future trips. Charge 3,000, 1,000 more for round trip. Will help Prabhu retain regular customers in accepting the increase in fare. So see, at the end of the day, when you pay the money, you pay it for some service. And there is this one thing which Prabhu offers that others do not, and that is punctuality and reliability. Remember, the paragraph tells us that he is unmatched at these. Nobody else is as punctual, as reliable. So in every other case, he is citing his own issues, his own challenges. But in B, he is talking about the benefit that associating with him brings to the customer, and therefore should be the best answer choice. Also turned out to be the official answer. Now this is the question where I had a bit of an issue. So after Prabhu increased his charges by 30%, revenue flow was promising in the beginning, but then he noticed a dip in private bookings. So here, which one of the following options will best help Prabhu to retain his revenue flow? So the answer that I marked was B. And the reason was, you need to retain your customers, right? So personal trips is where the dip is happening because the competition is cheaper. So start offering discounts, and if the number of personal trips is not very high as a percentage of the total number of trips that you conduct, it will at least ensure that you retain the customer and then you continue to do business with them. gives you an opportunity to raise that further ahead in future. But the key here was that you want to retain your revenue flow. So the 50% discount would straight away mean that you would not be able to retain the revenue flow. It will definitely fall. On the other hand, if you stick to your current increased charges, you are not immediately losing the revenue flow, but if there is a dip in the personal bookings because of this, you may. So my challenge was, I was torn between these two. I ended up choosing B, which did not turn out to be right, and the official answer key says C. And so okay, when I look at this, that okay, you want to retain the revenue flow, then 50% discount definitely dips your revenue flow. Sticking to your current increased charges may reduce your revenue flow. So in that sense, yeah, in the hindsight, I'd say that yeah, I probably made a mistake and C should be better. But this was one of those questions where B versus C should be okay with whatever. Then the next one will best help his cause. So far he's basing his opinion on interactions with one person. But then if he goes ahead and talks to some more persons, then the true picture may emerge, and therefore I think this was a relatively easy question. B it should be. Right, so there you go. Then the fifth set. This was a little tricky in some respects. So let us see the first one. Which of the following pieces of additional information will help her the most in taking the right decision? So see, why do we at times struggle when it comes to taking a decision? What makes a decision difficult? So a decision can be difficult if the risk is high. A decision can be difficult if the amount of uncertainty is high. A decision can be difficult if the complexity in that situation is fairly high. So in order to minimize these things, what do? You try to see how you can minimize your risk. You can try and reduce uncertainty by gathering more information. You can deal with complexity by talking to experts. So in this particular case, what should you opt for? So let me also go ahead and open my response sheet alongside. Let me just go to this particular set. Where did it go in my sheet? Okay. Just give me one more second and I will go ahead and look at what I was thinking of while going through these questions. Okay. So in this case, now you have a trustworthy individual, your brother. He's also an SUV enthusiast, so in a way an expert. So, and when an expert says stay away, you stay away. That reduces that uncertainty and helps you deal with that complexity. Tanmay, which discrepancy are we talking about? That the answer that you chose is not the answer that the response sheet says you chose. Please reach out to XAT. We will also raise the issue with them using whichever forums we can. Okay. So that is what makes B the best answer choice. The rest of them, this was one of those questions where if you work through elimination, should have turned out to be easy. Okay, then set 5. Now the key here was Shyam was not concerned about placing accountability. Because you're not bothered about accountability, B was anyway ruled out. And there are multiple options, right? So because B is ruled out, these two are gone. So A and B, B and E are both Gone, they are no longer part of the equation for you. Then if I look at B, so B is what? Shyam is aware that Vinita is very happy with the deal he gave her for the car. But then, so what? How is that a factor whether she should ask for the money back or not? So A is also ruled out. So now the choice is D versus E. That's where it all boils down. So let's check D. Once again, D is easy to eliminate. So that leaves you with C and E. C is anyway part of both of these options and therefore should have opted for D. Then fifth, she got to know of the extended warranty, most compelling rationale to justify not paying those 19,000. The easy thing is that it is common. If it is common, you wouldn't pay, and that was given in B, that others also offer this for free. So if he has offered it or paid for it, it should still be all right. And with that, let's look at ABC Business School. I personally found this easy, probably because we continue dealing with a lot of these schools, probably because I found the options etc. to be rather unambiguous. So this was a set that I would probably term easy. Let me once again just refer to my set in the response sheet while working on it. So let's go ahead and see. So the first one, will best help the director not to worry about pandering to those alumni. So there are alumni who want preference in admission, otherwise they'd withdraw as recruiters. But if you start doing that, you would not be considered fair. So A in fact increases the worry, B increases the worry, but C tells you that hey, even those alumni depend on this B school's success to enhance their employability, and their action will reduce the success of the B school, which in turn will also affect their chances. So they'd in a way be shooting themselves in the foot, and therefore C should work. Then the next one, B schools were ranked, but in order to rank, you need to switch to research and consulting. That won't be easy. So why should he not worry about applying for rankings? At the end of the day, it is all about placements, and the placements come from their alumni. And as long as the alumni know that they offer a retainable talent pool, it should be okay. So C. Then the last one, faculty stop complaining about student attendance. So indirectly what we want to do is increase the attendance of the students. Which of these is most likely to increase students' attendance? Considering that they are concerned about placements, D will, and therefore should be picked up as our answer. Here is the next one. So the last set. This was lengthy. I mean, given a choice, I think if I were not attempting all the decision-making questions, I'd say this is the one that I would leave out. Because of the length of the information and a couple of questions, we should have probably kept it down below in the priority order. So maintenance package, whenever a valve at level 3 malfunction, all valves will be replaced. So following piece of additional information, and which of the following will help the management of DSP the most in accepting the clause that hey, okay, go ahead and replace all of these. So which of these help them accept? So let us check. Valves are known to be prone to malfunction. If they are known to be prone to malfunction, it's a good idea to change them. Leakage from neighboring valves, if that happens, it makes sense to change all of them together. Go valve is ready to negotiate a discount if the clause is accepted. Possible. We can definitely consider it as one of the things, but then the problem is we don't have A, B and C anywhere. Anyhow, let's see, let's read further. Replacing the valves at lever 3 is a very difficult job which is best done by go valve. So because the job is best done by go valve and you want to hire the best, you can go with it. The chance of pressure buildups are higher near the seed beds, then you wouldn't really want to change all. So this is ruled out. So A and B definitely. Then C and D are even. So A and B, E is ruled out, so B goes. So that is what makes this the best answer choice. So I would have been in a fix, I would have been in a trouble had there been two answer choices, A, B and C, A, B and D. Thankfully that was not the case, and that made this question relatively easy for me. Tanmay, oh, I'm sorry, I read this late, just about now. How about we discuss this set and then I come back to the question? We can look at that answer choice. Just stay with me. Just write the question number as well in the interim so that I can take you back to that question rather easily. Okay, so safe valve, importing a superior brand of valve. And NGOs appeal to replace their existing valves with products of safe valve. However, the installation will require substantial modification, unknown challenges. So, deep sea, which of the following will help them best to publicly reject the appeal? So the appeal is change. Why change? Because significant reduction in gas leakage. So the best counter will be that, hey, the valves that we have already also are not going to lead to gas leakage, and that is given in E and therefore should be the answer. This was one of those questions which I thought was easier. And then the last one, significant reduction, update, lower number of valves, etc. Here are the things that they saw. Which of the following observation is the most helpful in rejecting the proposal? So in this particular case, so the proposal is reduce the number of valves to almost half. Now they would prevent the leakage, but they will not prevent the blowouts, and blowouts are going to be like the really big challenge for you here, and that is where C comes into picture, and thus should be the answer. So I said, barring one question where I felt that it could have gone either way, for the other 20 I more or less agree, and therefore I have no plans to raise objections to any of these questions. So Tanmay, which of these questions are we talking about? So can you, when I say I don't have question IDs with me right now, I'd have to go look for that. Can you talk about which of these, 16, 17 or 18? Out of 16, 17 and 18, which one? Is this the one that you want me to talk about? Question ID 2130. Let me look at my response sheet and then see. 2130. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, not to worry about applying for rankings. So what is the benefit of ranking? Let us check. What is the benefit of ranking? Here it is. Visibility among corporate houses and recruiters. So it is not going to make you popular with the students, but it will, according to the question, help you with recruiters. Now look at the original piece of information that we have. Check this out. Strength lay in its alumni who recruited. Moreover, the organizations did not really care for the talent but appreciate the students' ability to follow orders without questioning them. And that is where, so what they are basically looking for is people who'd follow orders and won't quit merely because That is their job. That is where that retainable thing comes into picture, and that's where the alumni come into picture, right? So getting a higher ranking would lead to what? Greater visibility among corporate houses and recruiters. And we are saying that, okay, we don't want that. So which one of the following can help us decide that, okay, even if we don't apply for it, it's all right? So as long as your alumni know that they have a retainable talent pool, they will continue to come and recruit people. So even if you don't get that additional advantage of visibility among additional recruiters, you don't do that. So C basically negates that. So that is why. So you're saying the recruiters, so they don't have to worry about the rankings. Absolutely, that is what C says, no? And that is why that should be the answer. Okay, so that takes care of a quick discussion of these questions. And in case some of you are focusing on Maharashtra CET now, we have started a Maharashtra CET crash course where we give you more than 55 live classes. So there are definitely 55 in the pipeline, maybe more. Plus, you know, there are these classes that we conducted in our SNAP batch and NMAT batch on topics which we believe are also relevant for Maharashtra CET. So those, we provide you recordings of those 50 odd live classes as well. Apart from that, we have more than 250 pre-recorded lectures that you'd have access to, and all of these things make it an absolutely comprehensive program, plus 12 mocks, plus 3,500 practice questions. So if you're serious about Maharashtra CET, do consider joining it. It is also priced very reasonably. I don't know what the exact price is, but it should be in the vicinity of some 5,500, 6,000, which is dirt cheap. And in case you happen to have any doubt, any question, any concern, and you want to reach out to us, you can always fill this form out. In fact, our team has also shared the link in the chat right about now. You can click on it, fill it out, and you'd be able to sit down with one of us one-on-one, and we'd love to take care of all the concerns that you have with respect to the program or anything else. If you want to discuss the road ahead, we'd love to sit down with you. Tanmay, your explanation is right. In fact, your explanation reads to C as the answer. So when you say recruiters don't read it, see. I'll just take you back to that question. You're saying the alumni do not follow research publications in general. If you have a higher ranking, you have greater visibility. So you'd be able to reach out to recruiters other than your alumni as well. So if A leads to your reaching out to people, so the alumni, if A is true, your alumni are anyway going to come. But now, because of that greater ranking and that additional visibility, you'd also be able to reach out to more recruiters, in which case you should go ahead and apply for that ranking, no? Right, so that's how A should be ruled out. Okay, so that is it from me today. I will meet you with a discussion of verbal ability and logical reasoning at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Before that, I've actually gone on to take quite a few sessions nowadays. So let me see if there is something that I am doing for you tomorrow. Yup. So if you are focusing on Maharashtra CET, I'd be taking a session at 12. And then at 1, we'd of course have a discussion of verbal ability and logical reasoning. So there you go. Yeah, pretty comprehensive, yes. So let's go ahead, meet each other once again tomorrow, and then we'll continue this journey forward. Until then, stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch. And those of you who are celebrating Lodi, a very happy Lodi. May the festival bring you a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, and a lot of success moving forward. Until I see you next.